Hello, happy Friday, everybody. I am Heather Wild Smith. I am the sales coach for people who hate sales. And I have with me the lovely Kelly Marshall. She is a profit and prosperity coach. I met her last month. We were in the 100 Women of Vision Summit that Will Carlos organized. It was amazing. It was a whole bunch of conscious business owners and, just talking about how to do business in a way that feels good, and how to enhance your spirituality to enhance your business and all kinds of good stuff. And I spoke about my objections or about I did my objections class, and Kelly did a fabulous class on helping people to raise and really own their prices. Yeah. So really tell them about you.
Thank you, Heather. Yeah, we met on that during that 2-day seminar, and then we became like fast friends after that. I can't even believe it's only been a month. But thank you for having me here. And yeah, I find women, conscious business owners, especially, we have some trouble with owning, the worth of our services, the value of our services. And there's a lot of stickiness that comes with money, the judgment around, and I'm going to guess you have a lot of spiritual people in your world, and there's a judgment around charging for those services and charging good money for those services. And so they end up not making enough money and not being able to walk their talk and not being able to have that, that abundance that they have on their vision board come true, and they get stuck. And so that's what I'm here for. And I approach it from both mindset, working through mindset, and also then strategy. And then I have a background in accounting and finance. And so I bring that piece into it, the practical part, the numbers, because if we don't look at them, we don't, we're not really being mindful of that. And you have to be mindful as you're building that business to be building it in a way that's going to be profitable for you. And that happens at every level. Like some people will start to make some real money, but they're not keeping any of it, or they don't know what to do with it. And it creates some mindset issues at that level. So it can happen in the early parts of your business. It can happen as you start to have success. Every point you're leveling up, it's something to explore and look at. And so I support people with, kind of the different pieces that might come up as they're growing their businesses.
Yeah, she's amazing. So I was fortunate. I got to do a session with her, and her process to get to your money box. I mean, it's like Inception. I felt like I was like, whoa, I'm down another level. Whoa, I'm down another level. Like it was, and I don't know, the way I just described it sounded a little scary. It wasn't scary at all, but it was just like, wow, like this got really deep really quickly. Yeah. And, it's important to figure out what those blocks are. I was working with someone, one of my clients, she's very spiritual. And I kept, trying to get through to her about like, you can raise your rates. Like what you're doing is really powerful. It's in your client's best interest for you to raise these rates, right? Yeah, so that they can get transformation. And when we dug down a little bit, it was that the person who had taught her all these things had done it for practically nothing.
That's it. Yes. Yes.
And they had done it. She felt like, how can I go out and charge premium?
Yeah.
And I was like, but how many more lives could your mentor have touched if she had actually been able to do this full time? If she was charging. So yeah, especially with spiritual, or my group, a lot of spiritual, but a lot of just high integrity people,
And that feels weird to like, you've got a mentor, you've got a coach, and they've got their own money stories. And then for you to be the, audacious enough to then go and double the price of it. I understand where that fear comes from and where that belief comes from. And I had a client last year that was doing energy work, and she bumped into that. She's like, my coach has been doing that for 20 years and I'm about to raise my rates past her. And it was actually really empowering when she did it, but she needed support to get there. So you made a really great point.
Yeah, there's a lot of shaming. And then a lot of what happened to me was not only like, well, if I'm here to help people, how can I charge for it? But was, and I want to get into your 5 must-have. Amazing. But the other thing is, I feel like when the personal growth industry started, we didn't have our own way of selling. So I feel like we went to the corporate salespeople and said,
Right.
hey, teach us how to sell. And the way that they're selling doesn't really align,
Mm-hmm.
with an industry that's all about really helping people grow,
Right.
especially when it's in spiritual ways. But it's that bullying, aggressive sales call as a
Were you
war
in some of the
zone.
sales trainings that I've received? I'm like, icky, gross, doesn't feel good to me. Yeah, I, we could go on and on about that one because I had an experience this summer where I was really being pushed to sell on pain, and that's not how I sell. Like, I can talk about the fact that you aren't making enough money. You might wake up in the middle of the night with your heart racing because you remember something's due and you don't know if there's enough there. Like, I get the pain of those things, and I will mention them because it's important, but I can't dwell on them. I can't stick a knife in and twist it in somebody's side because, I want them, I would much rather light them up with the possibility of what's coming, the possibility of what's available for them. So I totally agree with that. And when you combine icky sales with, I feel weird about money, how are you ever going to get a client? you know?
Yeah, and it took me 9 years because I kept taking trainings.
Yep.
And most of what's out there is regurgitated crap,
Yeah.
same shit, different toilet. And like it just, I was like, this doesn't work for me. And I kept getting slammed and just saying it was a mindset issue. And there is definitely a mindset component.
For
But
sure.
you can work on mindset to the cows come home. If you're not in alignment with that strategy, if it doesn't feel good to you,
Yeah.
then it's not a success or a money issue. It's just that you need something else,
Right.
and what happens is they're usually unwilling to work with you and help you
Right.
find what feels good to you. They're just like, this is the way,
Right.
you
Right.
know?
Right.
So yeah, that's a big problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's jump in. Let's talk
Yeah.
about
Well, I
I
even love what you were saying about that because I didn't have, I've got some notes here and I had actually skipped right to my beliefs page. But one of the things I say when I train people on my profitable pricing method is if you want to feel confident in alignment and congruent with charging what your services are worth, then this training's for you because it is about finding the alignment and the confidence and the congruency. I'm never going to, and I encourage high ticket, I do, but I'm never going to push somebody to charge at a level that they're not comfortable with because
right.
they're not going to result in it. Just like I'm not going to push them to use a sales method that they're, we have to test our boundaries. We have to, know when it's a block versus a true, this is against my values. Like that's something we have to discern.
Mhm.
But if it's truly against your values, it's never going to work. Whereas if it's a block and it's something you need to work through, then let's support them through that piece, right? And get them congruent. But knowing that ability, having that ability and being able to nurture somebody through that discernment, I think is really important for a coach, at least for my method. I can't do it any other way. And I don't think you can either because you're authentic and congruent.
No. And I don't I teach people the way I sell. And then I say, okay, what works for you with that and what doesn't? And what do we
Yeah.
need to tweak?
Yeah.
And if they have something they learned from somewhere else that they really want to incorporate it, okay, great. I don't have an ego about that. It's
Love
like,
it.
as long as they are selling ethically, in a way that like they're not trying to take advantage of people, they're not being slimy. It doesn't have to match exactly the way that I do it, and that makes us very different coaches.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, they nail down their system because that's what we're taught to do. You nail down your system and you stick to it no matter what.
Right. Right. It won't work if it's out of alignment or out of, if it crosses your value system.
For some of us, sometimes I wish that I wasn't so. I don't mean to be rigid. I can't help it. Like I've tried, and I know a lot of people probably are in that same boat where they're just like,
Yeah. Again, there's that. Yeah. There's the discernment with where it's just hitting one of your limits as far as, a block or, it truly is incongruent and against your values. I think that's that's the fine line there.
yeah. And we're going to do a whole live on that. I can already see
Good.
it because there is a point where it's like I have found this for myself, and Will has actually called this on me. If you guys don't know Will Carlos, he's amazing
Yeah,
energy
he is. Yeah.
healer guy. Forget what his exact title is, but he'll be like, Heather, you're really like you're using your integrity as a self-sabotaging thing. And there
Mm.
were points where I was like, I do believe in being in integrity, but there were some places that I was like, is this integrity or is this just creative sabotage? So,
Good point. Fair point.
yeah, so I would love, we'll have you back and have a
Awesome. I
conversation
love it.
about that. So yeah,
Yeah.
tell
All
us
right, let's jump into the
about
pricing.
beliefs,
Yeah.
or do we need to know any more background or?
Well, a lot of it'll come out as we talk about it. But basically, my argument here, my thesis, if you will, is that well, first of all, a lot of people struggle with pricing. Let's just put that out there first. And it doesn't always feel like it's like it when it's when you're the one that's going to price your thing. Like you feel like you're the only one struggling with this, but most people do. And I, in fact, I mean, this is what I do all day long, but I get coaching on it because
We
if I
can't
don't
go
get
wrong.
coaching, I'm going to nurture myself into a low price. So I have to have somebody that supports me through that because I just, I want, for all the reasons that you guys do, you want it to be affordable for people. You want to make a difference in their lives. You believe your audience can't afford anything more. Like all of those factors come into my mindset. And that is mindset. Like there is, there's guidelines with pricing, but especially for those of us that are pricing a service, when it comes down to most of what we're doing is pricing our intellectual capital, our time, those pieces. There's no right or wrong answer, and so it's got to be congruent and it's got to reflect the value. And I'm going to talk about that. But a lot of that comes down to mindset. And so I have kind of in my full presentation, I talk about the 5 elements of money mindset, but beliefs are one of them. And that's the foundation for why I have these as part of my profitable pricing method is because our beliefs are going to determine then our decisions, which are going to determine our actions, which are going to determine our results. And so this is a great foundation. Switching, working on these beliefs is a great foundation for supporting you to increase your prices, or even just like, these are fundamental. This may not even be something you have to work into, like it's seeing it in a different way, So I guess let's jump into them. I could talk about it all day.
No, it's awesome, and it's something else. Like you said, like it's easy for you to do this for other people,
For other
but
people.
you do it for yourself. But it's easy, and I think another thing that we get caught in is that if it's something we're so passionate about and we literally love doing it so much we could do it for free,
Oh yeah.
we we
We
completely
undervalue it.
yeah,
We
we completely
undervalue
not.
it.
It's
Mhm.
like, this is so easy to me. So, why should it be valuable? And we don't understand that our brain works in a very specific way.
Yep.
We're coded to do this work.
Right.
And it comes easy to us because it's what we're supposed to do. But just because it comes easy to us doesn't mean that it comes easy to other people.
Right.
You know?
Right. You're going to see a big theme that comes up in these pricing beliefs that'll dive into that part a little bit too. So number 1 is the work that I do makes a huge difference in people's lives.
Mm.
So you have to believe in the power of what you're doing and in the value of that. And so question, so with every belief, I'm going to give you a support question too.
Okay.
So something to support yourself with, something to journal about related to this is, why is being of service important to you? Why is this work that you do important to you? Why is helping people in the special way that you do, the unique way that you do, why is that important to you? And really diving into that piece and in dialing into, believing that that work makes a big difference in people's lives is going to help you support premium prices.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is, the value of my work is in the outcomes I create. So it's not in how much time it took you. It's not in how many phone calls you did in that month. It's not in, all the checklists you give people and whatever you give them. It's not in all the things, all the features. It's in the outcomes. The value
Mm-hmm.
is there in what they're getting out of it. So just like if that thing takes you 5 minutes and it's easy for you, but it's life-changing to them or it's business changing for them, the outcome is what you need to focus on when you think about your pricing. I
Mm-hmm.
do encourage people to think about the time it takes them to do things as more of a gut check to make sure you haven't underpriced it. You make sure you haven't, created something that's going to cause you to over deliver and not be compensated properly, but
Right.
never from, I'm pricing it because it takes me 15 hours. I'm going to price it this. You know what I mean? Okay. Premium prices, and this is the one that this ties back to what you were saying about it benefits their clients. Premium prices create greater commitment and better results. And I believe this. I've experienced this. Now, there are times when I invest in something at a low ticket where I do really put my all into it and get results, but that's 1 out of 10 times. Most times, if I get the freebie, I do the challenge, I get the $47 thing or the $36 thing, I might do the first module and never go beyond that, So there is a level of where investing at that premium is gonna you're asking your client to do that because you believe in the outcomes. You're asking them to commit, and you're being a stand for them to commit. You're being, you believe in them, their ability to have that outcome. And therefore, they'll get better results. I don't know if I gave a support question for the last one, but let me stick with what I'm at now, and I'll go back to that one.
Okay.
That premium prices create greater commitment and better results. Who would you be if you were here to play at the highest level? Meaning thinking about who would you be if you were really there to keep your clients accountable and take a stand for them and not just create a course that you sell that they can go through at any time, and I don't lots of business models. I'm not trying to find any business model, but really being there to play at that highest level to get the best outcome for them, and be a fan for them.
Yeah. Because the stuff is, it's great to have that option. But it's not just the information. Like most people with self-study courses they're not going to do most of it. It's just human nature, It's like if you go to the gym, even if you know everything to do and you work out with a trainer, or if you go by yourself, you can get a good workout. But if you go with a trainer, it's a whole new thing. That accountability, and that cheerleader, makes all the difference.
Yeah. And therefore can justify the price of joining the gym versus having the trainer. Yeah. I want to just step back to the value of my work is in the outcomes I create. Is how can you increase the value in your client's life? So when you think about building your program or your package or even your product, whatever that is, again, focusing on the outcome versus, throwing more features in, spending more time with them, giving more of yourself, really think about the pieces that are going to get them the biggest value. And it made to backtrack, but I like to give the support questions too. So, good. Next one is premium prices mean I can work with fewer clients and create amazing outcomes. Mm-hmm. So when you think about this one, again, this is coming down to being able to walk your talk. It's being down to you can try to serve more people, try to serve everybody, and create a lower ticket, and you can go that route. But again, it comes back to the outcome. Is that going to be the thing that creates the better outcome for the clients? Right. Or would you maybe choose to work with less people at a higher ticket and create better outcomes? Mm-hmm. So the question here, and this is a big one because a lot of people will get caught up, and this is my limiting belief that I've struggled with, that I've been working on, and it'll show I think I've got it, and it shows itself in a different way, is I have to work hard for my money. That's a big block that we have. It's culturally there. Our parents or our grandparents have really ingrained that in us because that is what was needed in their generation. That was what worked. But we're in a whole different ballgame now. We're in a whole different ability to make money, or, there's just a lot of things that have shifted in our society, our culture, and what's possible for us, for more of us.
Well, and I venture to say, there's always been people who have kind of broken out of the matrix.
Yes.
And realized that, yes, on one level of reality, it does take hard work to make money, and there's going to be a lot of struggle and toil. But there's always people who looked at that and said no, and opted out and found it other ways, even in our grandparents' generation. So
sure.
I think
you're right.
Belief is just,
it's and I think now, though, more than ever, there's so much more ability to. All you have to do is check out, if anybody wants to Google what a YouTube star makes, you'll get to see, not to say there's not work that goes into that, but you get to see, there's a shift in what's available for us, and it's available for more of us, and there's more opportunity, less barriers to entry. And it doesn't mean you don't have to be smart and do certain things, but here's the question. What permission do you need or want for you to make great money in less time?
Mm.
So thinking about that, what needs to shift? What permission, and this isn't permission from others typically. This is permission
Right.
from ourselves. This is like a mantra for me, is how easy am I willing for this to be? Because we can really get into the hustle and the churn. And
Mm.
I can slip into that better than anybody. Because I've prided myself in years where I'm a hard worker. I'll sleep when I'm dead. I've literally said that.
Mm.
And it's not serve. It doesn't serve. It never has. And so,
Not you, not your family, not your friends, not the people you're here to be of service
right,
to.
right. Yeah. So I work hard on shifting that. And when I do, and when I let it be effortless, when I let it be magical, the perfect client walks in or, finds me on LinkedIn and calls, and then they end up being a dream to work with, like on and on, like those perfect opportunities. You connect with somebody who's in such alignment with you when you're willing for it to be easy.
Yeah. What comes up for me is a kind of like, who am I to have it easy when everybody
Mhm.
works so hard?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like I'm betraying my family, I'm betraying the human race by, having it easy. But
Oh, you alchemist, you.
you
You're showing your alchemist side again. Yeah. I mean, that really is like, because you care so much, because
but the
um
truth is
you
me
want the greater good for all.
yeah, but the truth is me suffering with them does them no good.
Exactly.
It's just
Yeah.
one more person suffering.
Yeah.
It's not actually helping them in any way.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And there's kind of a little mantra around that, is the better I do, the more I can help others do well. So the better you're doing, the more that, energetically you're able to protect yourself, and you've got more spaciousness in your life and in your mind. And then you're able to reach that hand out and help the next person up, but by undervaluing yourself and offering your services at a point that is, um, less than your worth, it just ends up doing the opposite. You're not serving yourself. You're not stepping into a leadership role for your clients. You're not then able to reach your hand out and help the next person up in the way that you could if you were really fully supported, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
now, one of the things that I've realized from working with my client and was reminded again in our conversation is that you don't want to be the money block for your client.
Right.
You don't want them to go on to say, how can I charge premium for this when the person I worked with didn't charge me premium? You don't want to
Yeah.
pass on. It's like you've created a karmic debt.
That's a huge one that helps me, because if I'm going to stand up in a leader in my Facebook group and talk about these things, and then I go to offer something, and of course I have some products that are specifically there so people can get a feel for what it's like to work with me. But if I was to go charge my high ticket, or my program that should be high ticket, and I'm like, you can have all of that for $497, they're going to be like,
Huh?
well, I can't learn from her. They start to question the value of what you're really doing. And it really creates, again, it's an incongruency that makes people think it's too good to be true. They can't possibly be the things she's saying it is, because it wouldn't be that price.
Right. Well, and it's, I tell those people all the time, it's like, not specifically around this, but like, the people who are like, yeah, hypey, have somebody, like, they don't like the hypey marketing, but then they'll go get lured in by someone who does hypey marketing. And I'm like, if they do hypey marketing, they're going to teach you to do hypey
Right.
marketing,
Right.
right? So if they're, whatever prices they're charging, that's what they're going to teach you to charge.
Right.
Whatever marketing they're doing, that's what they're going to teach you to do.
True.
Yeah.
True. And my last one I have for you is, the key to charging premium prices is connecting my work to an amazing outcome. That outcome is the theme that I was going to say will come up here over and over again, because it really is about the value of what you're providing. If we have a few more minutes, I'll go into a little support around that value piece, but let me give the support question for this. Okay,
Yeah.
good. So what if you were to make all of your business decisions based on what is going to get the best outcome for your client? Not, how can I create that? I want the price to be lower, so I'm going to, make it a shorter time frame, or I'm going to, like all the tricks that we do to ourselves to try to figure out how to make it more affordable. What if it wasn't about that, and it was more about getting the best outcome for your client? And that meant, how you treat yourself, and how you structure your day, and how you make your decisions. If you always do that based on the outcome for your client, how valuable would that be?
I love that. It's very good.
So there's a question I'll give you guys, and then we'll go into the value piece. But what would you have to believe about yourself, about your services, about your clients in order to charge premium prices? Or you can word that. I never like to say charge what I'm worth because that triggers me a little bit, because we're not worth, our value doesn't come from the price of our services. But what would you have to charge to feel like you weren't undercharging? What would you have to believe to charge? We'll just say premium prices. I think that's the least triggering way to ask that. You know, or if you have, like, let's say, you know, some of us have a number, like I can kind of put my hand on my heart and there's a number that'll come out to me about where I want my services to be. It's the number that my heart is telling me feels right. Well, if I'm triggered by it, if that feels like, oh my God, how am I ever going to say that on a sales call? It's like, well, what would I have to believe in order to charge that? What would I have to believe about me? What would I have to believe about my clients? What would I have to believe about what I'm doing for them? So that's a little question.
That is a great question. I'm taking notes.
Good.
This is brilliant.
Cool. So if we think about outcomes, I want to give one more little thing.
Yeah.
Because if we're talking about outcomes, we're talking about value. You know, I think like you made the great point of things that come easy to me, I don't necessarily value, you know, because it's just easy. But that's because we're thinking about it from our perspective. We're thinking about our investment into that service for our client. But if we flip that and really focus on the client and we focus on the outcomes for them, then that's where we can understand the value. So that's easy to say, you know, but anything I do in my coaching, I don't just say, well, go figure out your value. I like to have a system. And I know you're like that too, because I've gotten to experience some of your work and you don't leave me hanging. Like you give me step by step. And I love that. And so I want to give a little step by step for your people too. I want them to think about their client before they work with them. So if you were to follow around a potential client before they work with you, what are the things they're saying about themselves, doing? How are they carrying themselves? You know, if they go to buy something, how are they feeling about that? What's their relationship like with their family? Like, think about all the important things that they do in their day before they work with you. And then picture them after working with you. What has changed? What is different? Are they dressing different? Are they more confident? Are they, you know, speaking to their children in a different way? Are they able to buy something that was, you know, their heart was racing when they went to go do it before? Did they go through the line in the grocery store and not have to worry about their credit card processing? Like, whatever it is, think about all the things that they would do in a typical day before working with you and after. That's your outcomes. So what were the practical results? What were the emotional results? What are the tangible results? What are the how-to results? And try to come up with 30. Because there's a magic that comes that you can come up with 8 or 10 really quick. By the time you get to 30, you've gotten deep and you've gotten to the kind of things that will make a marketing bullet or a post be really strong and powerful. So that's the last thing I'm going to leave you with on value and outcome.
No, it's amazing. And I was just thinking that, like, not only does that increase your confidence, which then makes you a better leader and makes you a better coach. But it's going to help you with your marketing. It's going to give you all these fresh ideas for your marketing. It's going to really show people that, like, you know where they're coming from. Like, you're really in touch with who they are, what's going on with them, how you can help, what they need, you know, all that stuff. And the brilliant, what I'm loving right now, because I'm like totally geeking out about objections, right? All of that stuff, knowing it, that is how, it's one of the ways that you handle objections.
Right.
You know, if somebody's talking about, I can't afford this. It's like, well, have you considered what it's costing you to live with this problem? No, you haven't, because you don't. Let me tell you about all the ramifications you haven't even considered. Now, think about, you know, not only what are you going to get with working with me, but what you're also going to get, like the ripple effect, because we like to compartmentalize our lives, and it's bullshit. Like, every part of our life touches every other part of our lives. So a positive change in one area is going to have a ripple effect.
And that goes for every one of us. Like, you and I might help people make more money, And of course, we can think of all the tangible things with that, but somebody that helps somebody lose weight so they're more confident, or helps them find a creative outlet so that they, are able to release pain. Like there's so many pieces that can then come back to something tangible.
Yes.
And often every one of us can find financial. People think, oh, it's easy for them. They're business coaches. They can quantify that. They can charge high ticket. So I guarantee there's people in your audience that are thinking that.
Yeah.
And I would encourage them to then take it to the cost level, take it to focus on the first things that you help them with, and then let that trickle through to what it's costing them financially, what it's costing them in their relationships, what it's costing them in their future, their business, their career, whatever that is. Because every change that we're making, every thing that we're working on, like you said, is going to trickle into the other areas of their lives. And there's always a cost to that for not getting it done, for not making that change.
I adore you. This is connected so hard. I'm actually really been toying in the past few days of narrowing my niche and really saying that I specialize in people who aren't business coaches, because I'm fantastic at ferreting out all the ways that these intangibles really are, tangible. And it's exactly what you were saying. I mean, it's brilliant.
Yeah. I love that. And there's a niche part of what I do with people. But what I love about what you're saying with that is that I find that when people don't focus on that, or if they do work with people that are not necessarily business coaches, they often try to make them into business coaches. I actually have a mentor who will tell people you can make so much more money as a business coach. And I don't believe in that, because we can't have all of us just go become business coaches. We need people to help us with all the other areas. You're what those people that you're thinking of focusing on, their services are critical. And I don't want people to feel well, I'm going to have to go into business coaching to make good money. It's just not true. I pay as much for health coaching as I have for business coaching, because I value it, and I need that support. And so I love that you're going to support those people, because we need them a lot.
We totally do, and it's we need, even if those people are just here to support business coaches, for the love of God,
right.
Beginning of your business, you need some mindset, you need a whole lot of strategy. And then what happened to me is, it took me forever, it took me 9 years to get to a point where I was consistently making sales, and that I was, selling high ticket. And I got a couple of high ticket sales, and I was like, finally, everything's going to be easy. And I hit a wall. And I kept doing more strategy and more and blah, blah, blah. And then I'm finally okay, it's mindset. It's fucking mindset. And I've had to go get people to support me with that. So, it's I'm getting somebody to help me with some Reiki healing. And so, we need all types of coaches. And it's one of the things that I don't like about the industry is that it has become, I call it the circle jerk gangbang.
Oh. She doesn't mince words, people.
Where it's just I'm a coach. Well, who do you coach? Coaches. Who do they coach? Other coaches. And it's we're like a non-product MLM.
Right.
And there's other people that need this work other than just coaches. And it's easier to sell to coaches because
we understand that package. And we're willing to invest in ourselves.
But there are people that are outside of this industry that invest in personal development, and let's reach them, because the work that we do is, really, we can help people be happier, and they can make different choices, and we can live in a different world. I don't believe in changing the world, because that sounds forceful. I believe in showing the world it has other options. And we are primed to be able to do that, but we've got to get out of our bubble.
I think you make a really good point. I love that entrepreneurial spirit. I've always loved working with entrepreneurs, and so that's who I support. But I also really honor that we can't all be entrepreneurs. We need people in there that are working in different ways and in different industries, and they need to be supported. We can't all, we can't all be just creating this freedom in our entrepreneurial world. People that go into a corporation that, like a manager in a corporation that can impact 50 people, you know, how powerful is it if you can shift their mindset and support them and have them start to see things in a different way so that they're treating their employees differently. Like that's
Yeah.
huge.
And those
Yeah.
people, you know, being treated differently at work, how does that trickle down to their
Into
family
their family. Yeah.
and their communities? And that's a great point.
I love it, Heather. I think that's a great niche to support. I think that would be really impactful.
Yeah, it's feeling, not that I wouldn't ever work with another business coach, but you know, it is easier to figure out the value, you know, but even with my coaching, I understand that it's so much further beyond just helping somebody make more money and feel better about their business. There's a ripple effect everywhere, you know.
Yeah.
So and not a lot of people can explain that, you know, and I think that a lot of times when it's a business coach, they think a certain way, and you know, maybe they're frustrated because they don't know how to help you get results, because they're not a healer or a weight loss coach or whatever. And I think a lot of times they get frustrated, and that's why we may hear, oh, well, you should just go be a business coach, you know, and maybe it's not even a conscious thing, but subconsciously they're like, I know what to do with you for a business coach, but I have no idea what to do with you when you're talking about helping people heal their inner child in their past lives.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just amazing work that you do. And I'm really excited to be connected. And why don't you tell us, like, what are the options for people to work with you? Well, first off, you've got your free group, which is amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. Prosperous and Profitable Female Entrepreneurs on Facebook. So that's a great place to come. It's a nurturing group. There's a lot of connection. There is learning, you know, but it's a welcoming group. I really pride myself on that part of it. So coming in there and kind of getting a feel for what I do is a great place to start. My website, I'm kind of in a rebranding right now. My website is 238 Accounting Services because I started out as a bookkeeper. And on there is an opportunity for a free strategy session. So if somebody wants to learn more about money mindset, how to stop undercharging and over delivering, support with pricing, or like a big part of the work that I do is helping people really be conscious of that profitability, how to manage your cash, figuring out how much money you really need to make to support yourself in the way you want to in your personal life and in your business. Answering some of those questions like, you know, how much do I set aside in taxes? So there's some of that practical stuff combined in with the mindset because they're both really important. I started with the practical stuff and it didn't get people far enough. I really needed to bring in the mindset and I needed it for myself. And so I do a little bit of both. And so in that strategy session, we can figure out what you really need and what would be the right place to start with that. So I'd love to have people sign up for that.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And you have, so you're working mainly one-to-one with people, correct?
I do. Yeah. That's been what I've done. I did a beta test on a group program this summer that went really well. So that's going to launch as soon as I get the sales page designed. That's going to launch. And that's a 6-month group program really designed for people that have proven, you know, kind of a proven concept. They've had some success with clients, but they are undercharging and over delivering. They don't know how to kind of get it packaged properly, how to call out their unique brilliance, how to get it into a high ticket package, the niche that they should work with. And then throughout all of it, it's got the money mindset piece. And then hopefully Heather's going to come in and share her expert wisdom about how to really find your ideal client and how to sell to them and how to handle objections and whatever she's willing to share with us. To support the sales side, because it all comes together. Yeah. Awesome.
Very, very awesome. So we'll track down. We're actually streaming in a few places. If you've made comments, we'll see them afterwards. The magic of StreamYard is amazing. Working smarter, not harder. And so we'll track down everything and get links to Kelly's group and to her website in the comments so that it's easy to find her. Of course, you can, you know, click on her Facebook profile and go track her down, but we'll make it as easy as we can for you guys. Thanks everybody for tuning in with us on Friday the 13th.
In 2020. I know. Keep your crystals close. You guys see me playing with my little necklace here. Like, keep everything, protect yourself today, right?
Oh my God. Oh my
Whatever
God.
it takes.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Just put that together. Wow. All right. So, yeah, so everybody, love on yourselves, be good to yourselves today. Thanks for tuning in. Drop me a line. Tell me what kind of experts you would love to see. I love, connecting with awesome, entrepreneurs with similar mindsets about, helping people make great money and doing it with integrity. If you're interested in being interviewed by me, come find me. Let's talk. Kelly, you're amazing. We'll definitely have you
Thank
back.
you. I'd love
And
that.
let me know what else you would love to hear from Kelly, as well, because I could talk to her all day. So,
See, we became fast friends. It didn't take us long.
no, it's right here, right here.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.